Hello everybody, welcome. This is No Bullshit Gaming Podcast 2.5 Gamers session number 18. But this week we continue with the mobile gaming company happy hour where we do a deep dive on the mobile gaming company from the perspective of game design, UA and Ad Mon. But let's not forget, this is still a 4 a.m. conference discussion vibe, so let's not be too serious about everything. And today we have Felix, the Ad Mon guru Braberg in the house, Jakub, game design skeptic, Remiar, and Matej, UA bro, Lančarič. Hey guys.
Hello. Mate,
how are you?
Post-COVID survival Matej is so much nicer than pre-COVID Matej.
Well, there you go. Things happen. COVID evidently changed me a little bit, but I feel fine. So, all good. I mean, it's been not so long since we recorded the last one. So, what's changed in the last couple of days?
Yeah. This one is going to be more interesting, I think, than the Rovio one. At least for me, it took me a lot longer to get to my conclusions than with the other one.
Yeah, for me too. And this episode is brought to you by, well, that could be your name, guys, but it's brought to you by us. So next time maybe. Yeah.
And after hearing from our sponsors, now let's just dive into it. So, as Matej mentioned, we'll be discussing King today. So before diving in, just like last time, here's some top line information about King. So King, of course, as everyone knows, is owned by Activision Blizzard. In 2021, Activision posted 8.8 billion in revenue, which was their highest ever revenue. King made up 28% of that, coming in at around 2.5 billion. So that's in 2021, and this was their best year to date. So in 2021, King grew by an impressive 416 million compared to 2020 numbers, or by about 19%. But, on such big numbers, that's really impressive. Something really impressive to pull off. So the interesting thing here is that Activision Blizzard in 2021 grew by 800 million, which is around 10%, which means that King was responsible for nearly half of Activision's overall growth in 2021. In other words, King is an absolute beast. So we have quite a mighty task here to look for chinks in his royal armor. So starting us off today, let's start it off with UA, Matej.
Of course, but again, just before I start, I just have one announcement to make, and we are officially the biggest 2.5 gamers YouTube channel. Thanks for subscribing. There are some other irrelevant dudes that are having the same name as we are, but now we are officially the biggest YouTube channel. So thank you very much for the support. Please keep on subscribing. And now hit the subscribe button before we go into the UA. So it was a kind of a nice task. I did a lot of research, not only putting together some information from various tools, but also on the LinkedIn. And so I divided my part into general information about the UA, then some spend and the UA channel mix. And then obviously I'm going to talk about the creatives and present some interesting facts. And then, so I want to just present also suggestions. So I'm not only talking about what I found out, but also what I think could be slightly better or what they should do. So let's start with the general information. I found out on LinkedIn mostly, because LinkedIn is my type of social media, where I hang out the most. Their UA team is called Performance Marketing Team, which is in gaming a little bit different from all the other companies. But I do see that they are divided into social and ad networks. So basically their UA team or performance marketing team is divided into the UA managers. They are taking care of the socials, which is mainly Facebook anyway, from the UA channels they are running at the moment, and TikToks, of course. But then ad networks. And they have hired their head of UA only 6 months ago. And she was leading a UA at Match, which is an online dating app. So this is interesting. I know if you are a big company as Chink, I know like the talent pool is pretty limited out there. But still, if you are hiring a head of UA or anyone in terms of UA, I would just most likely go for someone with exactly like 7 years of experience, but from gaming, not an online dating app. So, and what we found out today, the head of marketing left from King after, I think it was like 6 years, something like that. 7 years. And who do you think that he joined? Dream Games as a CMO.
That's quite valid though, because I'm assuming whoever is CMO at King right now, like that's pretty entrenched. Like, why would you want to leave that position? Like, is there a bigger mobile gaming company? You'll have to look quite hard.
Yeah, but there is King is a corporation, basically. It's like almost 3,000 people, and they are hiring like crazy on the multiple UA positions, which could mean like a lot of things. But from my understanding, I think, they definitely need even like more manpower to run the UA efficiently. And I see or saw a lot of people leaving. And now, maybe they are trying to replace them. But also, my assumption could be that King is not paying that much, which, can be very wrong. But why would you leave such a good position after 7 years, then just to, have four months career break and then join Dream Games? But it can be only my assumption, obviously.
Come on, man. Being a CMO, man. No, come on. Like, obviously, head of marketing wants to be a CMO. Like, it could just be that he got a CMO. Anyway, yeah, I digress.
Come on. And also what I found out when I was digging into the King employees, that one of their employees, whoever that might be, is actually working with me on one project. Which also suggests, if you are trying to find the different side jobs, then most probably you don't have, you are not paid well, and you have plenty of time as well. So, but it's okay. Let's stop with all these assumptions that from my side. But from the LinkedIn research, I also found out, and also like talking to some of the guys from the industry, King doesn't love agencies, and they don't work with anyone from the UA external work, and they do everything in house. They do work with external agencies on the creative side. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure why is this happening, or maybe I am, because it can get a little bit political on these levels. With these big companies. So, if we are in-house UA, and I think we've seen that even at Pixel Federation, we were always skeptical about bringing any external help in-house because like, oh, well, what if they do it better than us? Does it mean that we get fired?
Is that why Remo started wearing sunglasses so no one could see his expression?
Exactly, yeah. Because now he's playing 7 other tables of poker on the side,
Yeah, I hear the clicking.
The camera on.
I hear the clicking, Remo.
Yeah. So in terms of spending, they are spending mainly on 4 games, which is Candy Crush Soda Saga, then Candy Crush Farm Hero Saga, and Pet Rescue Saga. And from what I saw in different tools, they started to ramp up the UA activities in the last 3 months, and mainly in maybe like last 1 or 2 months. And interestingly enough, only Candy Crush, the original one, is spending heavily on iOS, not other games. Which, I mean, why this could be? Any ideas, guys?
Because they don't need to do UA anymore because they beat UA.
what does it mean they don't need to do UA anymore? Like I know, like
they have a big corporate audience,
Crash.
and then like they can just like live ops and then just keep making money, and no one ever leaves because it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, but they still run UA on Android, so why would they run UA at all, right? So that's a different story. But it would be great to actually check their iOS strategy with someone from the UA team, because maybe just Candy Crush, the original one, is just big enough to be sustainable on the iOS.
It's
And
getting bigger enough every month.
Every month, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this could be just like only viable option for them, because every other game, and I know we discussed this, like every other game that they launched, is having like lower revenues than the original Candy Crush Saga. So might be I would still love to talk to someone about why the fuck they're not running it, because this is leaving a lot of money on the table, guys. Okay, let's get back to the UA and the top channels they are running, and like what kind of channels they are running at the moment. And the one of the biggest channels at the moment for almost all their games is a big surprise. Drum roll, please. It's Applovin.
Wait, what was it? What was it?
It was Applovin.
What?
So, yeah. It's, I mean, I know it looks like we don't like Applovin from the sessions that we are discussing in the last couple of times, but it's actually quite
We do like Applovin. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do quite. Yeah, we love you guys. So, but I was really surprised. But then I was thinking about it a little bit more, and it actually makes all the sense, because they have the Matchington Mansion, Project Makeover, and these games, Applovin scaled heavily. So I bet this is mostly thanks to the Applovin inventory. So I hope I don't get corrected after these sessions. But guys from Applovin, if this is not true, let me know. But I still believe that like Applovin inventory is very suitable for the match-free genre, and therefore Candy Crush is Candy Crushing it on Applovin.
Wait.
Yeah, well, I can do these dad jokes now. So, but main and original Candy Crush, I think we see the same pattern as we discussed with Rovio. So this is the only game that is not heavily reliant on the Applovin, although they started running Applovin this month. This month. It's already June, so in May, last month. But the main channel for them is Google UAC. So all the game running a lot of UA activities on Google makes a lot of sense, because that's how it works these days. But in terms of the company-wide UA policy or UA activities, they're running 15 channels. Besides main ones, which is Facebook, UAC, Unity, ironSource, and Applovin, we can see traffic coming from TikTok, Vanga, Mintegral, interesting, and then AdColony, Chartboost, and Twitter. But we also see a very small test on Reddit, Pinterest, Yahoo, and some like very small, no-name UA channels here and there. So if we compare King to Rovio, I would say King is diversifying the UA portfolio way better. And I mean, if we compare King to Rovio, King is like triple the size of Rovio.
We need to compare Playrix with King. That's the thing you want to compare.
Did we just pick our next one?
Right.
Oh my god.
I just wanted to do a comparison to Rovio because we discussed that. And yeah, now I need to discuss Playrix, I guess. All right, thanks, Jakub. So some interesting facts. So I think I found out, like the Candy Crush is spending 90% of the budget on Google UAC, and then we have Facebook, Unity, and Vangle. And as I said, they're starting to push Applovin in May. In terms of the countries, and this is most probably way different from the other games I managed before, and in terms of the top countries in terms of spend, they are spending heavily on iOS in Germany, which is okay. Then US, Australia, and Canada. So the Austria there is definitely a big surprise. I mean, it's a really small market. But in terms of the Google Play, they are spending heavily in the US, which is not a surprise. But then Canada, Australia, UK, and Indonesia. Okay, well, whatever that means. Whatever that means. Do they have...
Usually means soft launch now, right, Remo?
We'll see.
Depends.
Alright,
Depends on the game. But do they have... well, I haven't played Candy Crush for a long time. Do they have already ads in the Candy Crush, the original one?
They do.
Really?
This is
Okay,
the
maybe-
like a problem I ran into today when I was researching some last bits on this, that there are people that are actually complaining on Candy Crush forums that they don't have ads anymore, and they have them
Okay.
before, and they're like, "Oh, you're not part of the test group," blah blah blah, stuff like that. So they're
I was
saying
getting
that-
ads. I've been playing it a lot lately for this.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
was getting
there's-
ads. Yeah.
And then there I found out people complaining that after they paid, they're never seeing the ads or the possibility to get ads and stuff like that. So I'm guessing it's kind of something in between. It's not the staple, but definitely their ads was there. It's not that there were never ads like in a Supercell game.
Okay. Yeah, I know they were just in the middle of experimenting with ads, the Candy Crush guys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is interesting because this is not the first time I'm hearing this, that some of the players actually complain about. Not
These are
having ads
forums
and-
from last year, so this is pretty recent.
Okay. All right. Okay, and with the three other games that they are spending heavily, we see 30% of the whole budget goes to Applovin, and then we have Google, obviously, and then Facebook and Unity. In terms of the creatives, and this was the most interesting part, and I was laughing so hard. Like, guys, you are Chink, and I know like you have the brand department, so you can't fuck around too much, but why the fuck are you working with gameplay only in creatives? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Repeat after me. It doesn't make any sense to run gameplay only. There was like one iteration, which I found kind of like cute and nice. They put little faces on their candies. And so as soon as you match them, they smiled and just ran away. I mean, this is nice, but it was like only innovation. Seriously?
I'm
In
assuming
Candy
these
Crush?
creatives are super high end as well, like AAA, like really well made, like polished to a T as well.
It's the gameplay, nothing else.
Okay.
Dude. It's, I mean, I found two iterations, one with small eyes, and then the second iteration with like huge black eyes that I posted in the doc. So that was the only thing that they been running on multiple channels. Plus, they're definitely leveraging the power ups in the creatives, but that's it in terms of the Candy Crush. So I know they're using like a female hand, but it's not consistent enough. It's just one time is without any nails, then you have a hand with the red nails. And I know like this was heavily experimented with at Peak. So they found out actually like if you have like a red nail versus pink nail, it makes a difference in terms of conversion, which is interesting. But here, not that much. So I also found out they are still running a winter creative. So, hey guys, if you're listening to this, check your Unity, Soda Saga account, and also maybe Facebook and Google account, and see if it actually produces results, because it's June already, and I don't believe this is actually performing well. On the other hand, what I believe is irrelevant. If it makes sense for you guys, then of course run it as long as you want. But still, this from the outside doesn't make any sense. And with Farm Hero Saga, they're trying to actually copy the Royal Match creatives, which could be good. But this is very weird combination with like something like leaderboards and tournaments. For me and female oriented players, I'm not sure if this makes so much sense. But again, this is only my opinion. But you see a classic match free help scenario in the Farm Hero Saga creatives, but they're showing a lot of headlines into your face, like, "Hey, tournament, be the first in the leaderboards." Like, what the fuck is happening? I didn't know where to focus in those creatives, and if I can't do it, like, how would you think your female core 35, 45 plus in the US can actually focus in that creative? Like, what do you think they would do? It's just too flashy. And one other, I think like one last petty rescue saga with the Royal Match creatives as well. They're also trying to copy this, but we always see a positive outcome of the rescuing creative, which is the quite opposite of what is working actually for the Dream Game guys and Royal Match. This creative works mainly because you see all the suspense. It's just like you really want to save that king and like all these like puppies and pets, but actually you fail. So after the creative is shown, you just want to really rescue whoever is in the creative, and then what do you do? Well, I download the game and then rescue them by myself. That's the main assumption. But okay, so I have some suggestions to you guys actually, and I would start with ramping up the volume on Unity. For Christ's sakes, Unity is working really well for merge games, cooking games, and other female-oriented games. So why wouldn't it work for you guys as well? It just needs some extra manpower to pull that off, and since you are hiring a lot of people in a lot of different positions, I think it should be doable. Then I would experiment with the external agencies. It doesn't need to be like you need to onboard like 10 external agencies, and I know like it's very tough job to find the proper external help, but you should definitely try to do that at least once or twice, because those external new pair of eyes can be helpful. And I know, as I said, it can be political, but it help uncover a lot of things that you don't see since you are in the weeds and trenches are just too much. And in terms of the creative, I would very much suggest to try ASMR creatives, slicing all your candies. ASMR slicing was the top of the hyper casual game for some time, and even Coinmaster started slicing their coins, and it worked really well for them. So I would definitely suggest to do that for you guys. And I see similar creatives for Calm, the meditation app, and they are doing these like ASMR concepts, relaxing and calming, which can work pretty well with relaxing with Candy Crush. And also, when you copy competitors, be sure that you understand like why the creative is working for them and try to improve that for you, and not the quite opposite. Oh, all right. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a great example in my part regarding that new pair of UAIs.
There you go. Amazing.
So we can get to that. But yeah, pretty comprehensive. I would say, are you suggesting that, let's say, if you would compare Playrix versus King, which are let's say the biggest rivals here, that Playrix is pretty much using their marketing creatives to its fullest? They
would put them into the pocket. This is King, and it's like, bam, to the pocket. That's it. Playrix, those guys are masters in terms of the creative. They invented all these shitty creatives, but nobody cares because they don't have the brand department. Thank God, because they like to earn money and grow. That's how it is. And I know I will get eaten alive, for saying this, but I don't care. I don't really care.
Even though that Candy Crush is still growing heavily these days, and Playrix can suffer like a decline on downloads last half a year.
Yeah, but they can grow. They can grow even more. That's the thing.
Did you see, like, when you were looking into it, like, is this UA fueled growth, or is it them getting more from their existing user base, which is really big?
Yeah, you mean King?
Remo said.
Yeah.
Remo said.
No,
in terms of downloads.
It's no. Playrix decline in terms of downloads. King pretty much stays on the same level, but the revenue is still coming up because they are super like hyper efficient with their live ops. Like pretty much
I'm
the
sure
masters of live ops there. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, if you have like really good live ops systems, that fuels the UA. So like, I don't say their UA sucks. That's nowhere near I wanted to say. It's just this can be so much better. Yeah. And of course, guys, like, kudos to you. You're doing such an amazing job. I mean, running so many games, heavily pushing on 4 of the main games on 15 channels, that's not an easy job, of course. It's really great. So, good job.
Cool. I guess that brings us to Ad Mon. So this one was quite a big challenge from Ad's perspective. King, as we said before, is a absolute juggernaut. Plus, their costs and revenues are not really broken out in Activision Blizzard's financial statements. So how I went about doing this was I started playing everything from Candy Crush to Bubble Witch 3 to Crash Bandicoot. And I gotta say, like, Candy Crush, man, it's so polished. I haven't played it for like 2 or 3 years, but it's so clean. It's just such a shame I was playing it for the ads. So most of these titles, of course, except for Crash, are super IAP heavy. But I did start getting ads after some time in pretty much all of these games. And I got a very well made ATT prompt in all the games when I played on iOS. So, and it even showed me like a list of all the possible ad sources. So no easy win there. And I heard a rumor a couple of years ago that they only do branding ads, but I got gaming ads from Unity, AdMob, IronSource, and Facebook. So no big warning flag there. So I was starting to lose hope, if I was a bit honest. I was like, should I call Remo and just be like, how about them ad placements, huh? What kind of uplift do you think? But I didn't. So basically I stopped by playing the games. So the hunt led me away from the games and into the Activision Blizzard 2021 annual statement, which, by the way, like, compared to Rovio's annual statement, this one is boring as fuck. Guys, have you ever heard of colors? Like,
no.
I guess when you make like $8 billion a year, like, you're not allowed to have fun anymore, and that really shows in their financial statement.
Yeah, it needs to be boring.
Rovio's one, like, this one is nothing. So anyway, so I started reading, and nestled in on the bottom of page 61 of this 68-page document, thanks a lot for that, I found my, like, ad chink in King's Royal ad armor. And it reads, I'm going to do this reading. So this is a direct quote from page 61. The pricing and terms of all of our kind of revenue-driving advertising arrangements are governed by either a master contract or an insertion order. The transaction price in advertising arrangements governed by an insertion order is generally the product of the number of advertising units delivered, impressions, or videos viewed, and the contractually agreed upon price per advertising unit. So, this
does it mean?
Does it mean custom mediation?
No, this means that King is not selling their impressions on the open market, and it's selling their inventory the old school media way by negotiating prices with ad networks in a contract and then selling it to them directly.
What?
No mediation, boys. Yes, I didn't have to call Remo.
I thought it was custom mediation.
So this got me looking. So basically, I logged into our favorite analytics platform, and I took a quick scan of the SDKs of the top 9 games by DAU. So Candy Crush had the most SDKs. It had 3 ad SDKs, IronSource, AdMob, and Facebook. And all the other 8 games, except for Crash Bandicoot, had 2 SDKs, AdMob and Facebook.
Nice, okay.
Which means that these guys are selling direct to either AdMob or Facebook for the majority of their ad transactions. So, general rule of thumb here is that the more ad SDKs you have integrated, or the more ad networks you work with, the higher the eCPM due to competition when you're selling it on the open market. So, kind of from here, I was able to make some educated assumptions based on my own experience and the data I have. So I took the 9 biggest King games by DAU, which start at 20 million DAU, which is Candy Crush, and went all the way down to Bubble Witch 3, which has 28,000 DAU. So I only assume...
Wait. Bubble Witch 3 has 28,000 DAUs.
Yeah.
Is that dead already? What the fuck? Why is that so low?
Bubble Witch 3? No, it makes something like 3 million a month or something.
Bubble Witch 3 has 28,000 users when I checked it on our favorite data platform.
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, as I said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
still pretty big
Interesting.
revenue.
Yeah, quite impressive. I mean,
Nice.
it's still the King we're dealing with here,
okay.
guys. Like,
I know.
make no assumption.
I know.
Like,
Yeah, okay.
so
Yeah, sorry.
yeah. So I only assumed that they had rewarded video ads because it's the only one I ever saw. So I estimated the ad viewer rate to be between, depending on the game, between 20% on the high LTV games like Candy Crush and 60% on like Crash Bandicoot. So I kind of handicapped it. And impressions per DAU, I also had to handicap for the 9 games to be somewhere in the range of 1 to 4. So the same rule here. So you'll get the higher amounts like in the lower lower IAP games. So due to their large user base, this brought me to a number of around 13 million impressions per day, which needs to be taken with a grain of salt because there's no way I can actually know that, but that's an educated guess. This brings us to eCPM here as well. I have no way of knowing what their eCPM is because they actually negotiate it between mainly 2 networks, Facebook and AdMob. So again here, grain of salt. So I picked an average global eCPM of $17. So here's the big caveat. If you work at King and you know this number and you want to leak it to me, I can easily plug it into my model and then it will be more accurate. But I will leave my email in the show notes and I will keep it strictly confidential.
Yeah. The same way I didn't mention who this person is working on in the UA field and working with me on the other project.
So I went a bit low here since it's negotiated with only like 2 or 3 networks, which in my experience would never give you the same price as if you're doing it on the open market. Yeah. But what this does, this brings us to roughly around $250K a day in ad revenue for King, or about $91 million a year. So does this pass kind of the sniff test? This is around 3.5% of King's overall revenue, and I think that sounds relatively reasonable. So that would be about 1% or 1.04% of overall Activision Blizzard revenue comes from actual King ad revenue. So if you launch a normal game on the open market in terms of mediation with only 2 networks and you have the scale that King has, I guarantee you will not be reaching your full ad ARPDAU potential. So usually what you say here is like any game over like 20K a day, you need at least 5 to 6 different networks to really unlock like the highest eCPM possible.
Yeah, so because you have a lot of daily users, so it needs a lot more ad networks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I've done this on some larger games that are around like 25 to 35K a day, where you go from maybe 3 or 4 networks to 6. And kind of the general number I see here is usually with optimizations, you get about a 30% bump in eCPM after doing like really good optimizations, because also ad networks favor large sources where they can get a lot of impressions, so they can really get the big guys in and spending. So using this number, I estimate that if King sold its inventory on the open market while also adding more networks, they will increase their daily ad revenue from $311 to $311,000 a day, which would be about $113 million a year. So that would mean roughly a 1% increase in overall revenue from King, or about a 0.3% increase for Activision Blizzard as a whole. So these numbers are a bit shaky since I don't know the starting eCPM. But what I will stand by here are the ratios. Yeah. So like that is to say, like, whatever the starting point is, I believe that there is a 30% gain plus to be made if they move to selling their inventory on the open market through mediation instead of just negotiating between 2 or 3 networks. So there you have it. I think at least $22.7 million more a year can be easily achieved per king. But I want to add, like, if these contracts aren't well negotiated, it could probably be even double that. So, yeah, that sums up Ad Mon.
Nice.
Yeah, I still think the branding kind of outweighs the focus on Ad Mon here. Like, if we imagine, let's say, when was it, last year or the year before, there was a Candy Crush themed reality show in America, which I guess was like a pretty big marketing expense. So yeah, the brand is still super strong. So I'm not really kind of think that they will get their focus back on ads.
Is it that strong as 46 million a year? I'm not sure.
Definitely it is.
Here's the thing, though.
Okay.
Here's the thing, like even if you adopt it, what's this game? Like, what's the percentage conversions to payers? Like 3% maximum, maybe even a bit more since the king.
Candy Crush?
Yeah, Candy Crush.
Don't know. Like the thing with Candy Crush is that it's still actively growing. Yeah. And I'm guessing you want to keep that kind of a premium feel of this is the mighty Candy Crush, which won't really, infest your game with ads, to kind of use a more negative term here.
Yeah. I mean...
Okay, but, like, this is very similar to what we discussed with Supercell, and why Supercell should implement ads and, Candy Crush shouldn't.
Supercell won't have a choice except to implement ads at some point because it's Tencent that runs it. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But here it will be soon Microsoft who will in the end run Candy Crush.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I would kind of tie this off, and before we hand it off to Remo, who probably has the worst segment to do. I just want to tie it off by saying, this is a CEO decision. That's something a CEO and the C-level will decide. You present the data as you find it, but there is definitely a lot of more revenue you can unlock here. And if you put blocks in place, like only showing ads to a certain number of users or subset, you can probably negate losing any of revenue in from IAPs.
Premium feel.
Yeah, I think it's more about that premium feel, or let's say prestige feel here.
Prestige Phil. So, Prestige Phil Collins.
I want to hand it over to Remo now, because you have the shittest job ever, because you have to critique this on game design when they are the kings of game design.
Yeah, something in that matter.
But are they?
Yeah, are they?
That's the question.
Yeah. Let me just start
after this short break.
Yeah. Let me just start that, this is definitely not the comprehensive, super, super big overview of the whole company because it's just too big. So I'm trying to kind of pinpoint, let's say, the biggest facts and the biggest key takeaways here from what I can...
Why are you saying all these excuses even before you started? Come on.
Yeah,
There's no bullshit gaming podcast, dude. Just stop whining and start.
Yeah, you say, I have done the best ever... analysis. Here it is.
Okay, let's start the best ever analysis.
Yeah, there you go. That's the spirit.
Yeah, so, first thing, let me just borrow this piece of data that was in Deconstructor of Fun predictions for this year. That's always good to read. And they have it greatly framed here because I think this is really important to tell, especially when we were talking about the creatives, Mate here, that King is the biggest competitor to Playrix, and Playrix is the biggest competitor to King, and these two are switching the throne of the puzzle genre, where puzzle genre is currently dominated by Puzzle and Decorate, which is the Gardenscapes, Homescapes, and Fishdom games, which comprise of pretty much 60% of this Puzzle and Decorate subcategory, which is 36% of the overall puzzle market, which is currently something like 2.5 billion. And then the classic match, as the taxonomy would call it, the classic match 3 games represented by Candy Crush, those are 30% of the market share, reaching something in the vicinity of 2 billion, whereas King portfolio is currently taking 70% of that market. by mainly Candy Crush Soda Saga, and all the other crushes pretty much. The important fact is also that Candy Crush this year turned 10 years, and
Nice.
it has grew almost 50% in the last 3 years. Like, I could end the report just here.
Just now, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Jakub, and that's it. Yeah.
So this is like a miraculous feat, literally. I don't think so. There's like an equivalent here in the industry. Even if we take, let's say, Clash of Clans, that could be like a good example of a evergreen game, which is turning, I think, 10 years again, like either last year or this year. And it still didn't grow 50%. It's stable and like pretty much holding the really good revenue that it's making, but it's not growing 50%. Which for a 10-year-old game is, outstanding.
That's really impressive. Yeah, that's really impressive.
So as I said, every year, King and Playrix pretty much are neck to neck in race to be the top publisher. In 2020, Playrix was ousted by King again. And Playrix ousted King, and then in 2021, King took again the throne to be the best puzzle publisher. So that's as for the market. Regarding the other thing that you can see in the market, there's the puzzle and decorate subgenre. Those are the Gardenscapes, Hopescapes games. Then you have the classic match 3 represented by King, and then you have the Tile Blast games, which again are catching up a little bit as the new kid on the block. Not that big, but represented, I would say, by one of the biggest growth here, mainly by the guys from Turkey. Peak Games, they were acquired by Zynga, now acquired by Take-Two. And then, of course, Dream Games, which is the new unicorn on the block, I guess, waiting to be acquired with their hit game Royal Match.
Let's not go there yet.
Yeah, let's not go there yet. Yeah, so if we look at King whole portfolio regarding the IAPs from last year, they're making around 1.5 billion of revenue just from the IPs. So I'm guessing there's some additional millions or hundreds of millions somewhere there in the ads, because we cannot see that through our data platforms that we're scouring. But it's 1.5 bill. And the interesting fact is that, again, there are 3 games that are making 87% of the overall revenue here, which is Candy Crush sitting at 58% something, Candy Crush Soda Saga 20% something, and Candy Crush Friends Saga 7% something, and then there's just less and less percentages. What we can see from this, similar trend with Rovio, where the games are really old. Candy Crush, as I said, is 10 years old. Candy Crush Soda Saga is 8 years old, and Friend Saga is the newest one. Even though it's the newest one, it's already 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, true. But they're not, at least they're not heavily investing in that title. According to what I saw, it's
the Friend Saga
Rescue and the Friends. Yeah.
That's
obviously spending something, but not as high as the other.
Yeah,
other
that's
games.
the main problem with this whole Candy Crush morphing business, where there's this rule like Moore's law, where your every next Candy Crush is making less than the previous
less money.
one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So I remember back in the days where, let's say, you were comparing something like, let's say, Machine Zone games, where you would have Mobile Strike and Game of War. Those would be making pretty much the same. There wasn't that big of a diminishing returns factor. These games work a little bit differently. So, let's see
it's
how
different
this plays
genre,
in.
so you can't compare that.
Yeah, but also different, marketing formula. Whereas there you were feeding the whales. You need to keep the audience there. And by the way, King, regarding their portfolio, is the biggest example of cross portfolio marketing or cross game marketing, however you want to call it. I remember there were like a lot of these kind of suggestions in the industry. We're gonna drive traffic from one game to the other, and they're gonna be hanging in our ecosystem forever and blah blah blah. No, you can't. There are just few companies that can do this, and King is one of them. I think the prime one of them. So they really know what they're doing here. So if you look at those 3 big games, Candy Crush, that's the original game that pretty much brought it in. Started on browser before, on Facebook games in 2012 in April, and then in November it was released also on mobile. One of the, let's say, biggest things that Candy Crush did was its monetization model. I remember seeing like a case study from King where they were showing how pretty much like one study changed the monetization of the whole game, because the interesting part was that before on the browser, if you remember to +5 moves thing, you would have it during the gameplay. So you could use it anytime you want. But what they did during the test was they put it only after you lose at the end, and only then you could use the power-up. And this simple change had so drastic effect on the monetization that was pretty much the match 3 formula right there. That you like the puzzle games from that moment were created in a way that the balancing and the mathematics behind it is the biggest problem of it all, and you need to create the levels in a way that usually people end up in this one more move formula where they have this sunken cost fallacy. Like they have been trying to beat this level, they're really frustrated, they have even these kind of frustration ratios and churn prevention ratios, and like match 3 games are literally like data science. And if you frame the +5 or +3 moves, and players already see it, that one move will make them kind of pass the level, they will convert. And this is the money-making machine of those games, the best principle there is. So Candy Crush is literally the behemoth in the industry. It's still occupying the top charts every year. Currently, I'm guessing it's making its biggest revenue in its lifetime, which is something to behold of. It's somewhere, only from IPs, I'm seeing something in vicinity of like 80 million here, 81 million plus. This is just from mobile IPs.
Per month?
Per month, yes. Per month, of course. So
nice. For which game? For which game?
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush.
Oh, okay.
Candy Crush, iOS, Android, mobile only IPs. So if this is around 81 million, then we add in the ads, the mystery number that we don't know, and then probably browser is also still making a lot of revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
We're probably crossing 100 mil already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is
that's kind of nice.
And as said before, Candy Crush just keeps on growing and growing. The biggest kind of a change was somewhere during year 2017, where the revenue nearly doubled.
What happened?
I think that's because of the mastery of live ops that King pretty much brings into the game. The really important part is that they have the content treadmill. And by content treadmill, I mean Candy Crush currently has 11,825 levels.
Man, just imagine. I started
begin.
playing it this week. Like, imagine that, like playing through all
you
that.
can play that for another 10 years.
Because these games, they are big content consumption machines. You need to feed the levels in. Like I think I was comparing it at one point when I was doing some match 3 research that you add like 40 levels every 3 weeks or something like that, and people just eat through it. And then you add more.
Of course, in one day.
And
one day.
And you keep and keep in mind that you need to also add in new mechanics and twists. So usually the rate of like a new mechanic will somewhere between like 40 levels or something like that, and then you try to kind of switch it around and see what happens. But the level design on this game, like there's outstanding.
When you say live ops mastery in 2017, can you just pick like something like?
They added leagues into their game, let's say. Bronze League, Silver League, Golden League.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Really competitive leaderboards, events. They have like 20 different types of events that they rotate. Those are kind of twists on the gameplay. A lot of games are using those. Like I know, let's say Player X also did some of those initially when they were doing. So they are really the masters of the live ops here. And of course, you just keep progressing on the saga and eating those
of course.
11,000 levels. So wow. So this is really great. Like anybody that is going into mobile gaming, you should check out Candy Crush and how they did it. This is one of the staples in the industry. So that's there. Going later, let's say, Candy Crush Soda Saga, which was released in 2014, still performs really, really, really well. The game, again, casually makes something around 25 million a month, which is in IPs. Even though it's like 3 times less than its bigger sister, it's still making like so much money. Because again, this is based on that cross-portfolio effect where you run out of lives on Candy Crush, you can still have your lives in Candy Crush Soda Saga, which King, I guess, utilizes to its limits. And it's completely okay for match 3 players to be playing multiple match 3 games. So this fits well, really, in their portfolio. So yeah, this is pretty much just, again, another twist on their usual Candy Crush gameplay with some kind of different mechanics. You have those flying fishes around. That's the staple for Soda Saga, which is all themed around like bottles and sweet juices. So that's there. And then we have, let's say, the newest of the entrants, which is Candy Crush Friend Saga. But actually, this is the 4th iteration of the Candy Crush formula, because before we had Candy Crush Jelly Saga. That was released in 2015. But Candy Crush Friend Saga makes a little bit more, but it's still really, really small compared to its sisters, where Candy Crush Friend Saga currently makes something like 4 million a month, compared to its bigger sister, like main one, which makes 100 plus. So
let's stop here. So what you're saying, they have pretty interesting growth of all their old games, but what kind of games they actually launched in the last 3 years besides the Crash Bandicoot bullshit?
Yeah, we have some notes on those. Let's continue.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the end of the Candy Crush, let's say, live family of the main IP, which is Candy Crush. As I said, Candy Crush Soda, Jelly, and then Friend Saga. Then we have the Pet Rescue Saga, which is really old one, still casually makes around 3 million. But note that this is the only game that's a blaster game in their portfolio. Which is click to match, mechanics. Not a match 3 one. Then they have the Bubble Witch 2 and Bubble Witch 3 Saga. Those are blaster ones, like a Panda Pop, a similar game. Those are, I think, all coming from that old Nintendo game mechanic. Forgot the name of the game, but yeah, this is pretty much that one. These are still making somewhere in their usual, like a back burner game with 4 million or 3 million a month. So yeah,
decent.
Still super
still
good.
Decent.
Still super good, but again, not like a main game. And then I would say this is like the main match 3 portfolio. Then we have games in the other genre and the mid-core attempt. Let's call it
Knighthood.
We have notes on those. So let me just say that last game on their main account is Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
which,
of course.
Yeah, to me it seems more of a brand
big flop.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's an endless runner, which fits the genre because original Crash Bandicoot was an endless runner in itself. It had a really big spike of like nearly 30 million downloads during the launch month, but translated to revenue, it did something in the vicinity of like 1.3 million. And currently, the game is getting something in like 1 million downloads a month compared to 60K IP revenue.
Yeah, so they haven't really like done a good job on implementing ads. Like Crash Bandicoot is 100% an ad game, like 100%.
Yeah.
Like look at all the other endless runners that have made it. Like like ads.
But you have the brand.
Yeah, ads work.
The brand.
Sure, but still, you on one hand you have the brand, but on the other hand you have still you're a public company, right?
Yeah,
so
you
need to,
I would say it's
Subway
not
Surfers. Like I don't think they make a lot of money on IPs. It's ad revenue.
It's ad revenue. Well,
of course. But I'm just saying, like, of course, this is not really utilized potential to its fullest, but I would still say probably Activision or whoever is the original of the app step in and, they still have the priority within the PC game. I remember Crash Bandicoot released their PC collection somewhere recently, like 2 years, 3 years ago. I guess that's still the, main thing. So this could be still considered as some kind of branding gap rather than like a cash machine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but let's say, what's there next in their portfolio? So there's this interesting soft launch titles that were soft launched the same day on December 2018, which is Candy Crush Cubes and Candy Crush Tales. And those were both, I guess, in their days attempts to catch up with the competition because Candy Crush Cubes is pretty much a tile blaster again.
so
I
it's
guess
Peak,
this,
right?
this was their attempt to catch up with Peak, but the last update of the game was 2019, so this seems dead.
It did.
And yeah, this didn't age well. And the twist here was that instead of you making, restoring a town, you were making a town yourself and kind of building it up level after level. But yeah, this didn't fly. And
Wonder
then
where they got that idea from.
yeah, and then they have the Candy Crush Tales, which was, I guess, killed a little bit later, December 2019. That's the last update date.
Ooh.
And this one is actually a direct, punch at Gardenscapes, where the game is even landscape. You have the usual restoring environment formula, where you need to restore the Candyland out of the evil salt that's covering everything.
Evil salt?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's against sugar, so normal.
Sure, of course. Okay.
Prime enemy of sugar.
Makes all the sense.
Exactly.
What?
And you even have the usual Candy Gardenscapes formula there. Like if you repair something, you get to choose out of 3, pretty similar equivalents, and then you progress. So this didn't again fly off. But
this is very similar to what they do on the copying the competitor ads. It's just don't work.
Yeah, unfortunately. But other than that, there was nothing regarding their main account. So these are the last titles. Last thing released on their account is Crash Bandicoot. So that was released. What was the date? Sorry. Global launch March 2021.
A year ago, okay.
Yeah, so if we consider these games, the soft launch one not really flying well, and then we omit Crash Bandicoot, pretty much the most successful game lately is still the Friend Saga from 2017.
Oof.
Yeah. And
normally I would be like, oh, that's a oof, but
yeah, that's a oof.
Damn.
Yeah, but then we have this other thing, which is called the Snowprint Studios, that King
but Snowprint is now... Yeah,
No,
well,
it's still part of their portfolio, man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because now they took back their game, the Legends of Solgard, and rebooted it, and it's actually making a kind of nice amount of money.
It's currently making something in vicinity like $50K a month.
$50K a month?
Yes.
Yeah, way more. Okay, at least when I checked it was way more.
Maybe you checked it somewhere in December 2019.
Okay, that was
they
million
were
plus?
able to pump it up to $700K a month.
Okay.
But after that, they pretty much went down again. So yeah, let's start with Snowprint Studios. Snowprint, founded by Alexander Ekval, the former director of product at Chink in 2015, where
we are saying hi to Alexander because I know him, so be careful on what you are going to say.
Yeah,
it's a great dude.
So they closed their 5.7 million funding round in mid-June 2015, if I get it right. And yeah, the investment round was made in exchange for nearly 29% of shares in the company, valuing it almost at 20 million at the time. And even there, they were saying that the Bifrost RPG was kind of delayed, and this is the Legend of Solgard, if I get that right. So Legend of Solgard was soft launched in October 2017. It's an original IP, but actually it was global launch in July 2018. Regarding the gameplay, curiously, it is using the gameplay of a really, really old Heroes of Might and Magic game from Ubisoft, released in 2019, Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, where you have this kind of a puzzle battle gameplay where you merge units before you attack, and then the merge units attack on the battlefield. By the way, Supercell has a kind of similar core gameplay in their soft launch currently with Clash Quest.
Yeah. Clash Quest, I know.
So there's a lot of tries on this genre. But as they release it, you can clearly see pretty much the UA pump in the downloads. Then it didn't really go well. And then after the global launch, they probably tried some kind of a new iteration. They
reworked the whole core, basically.
And they were able to actually pump it up to $700K a month. But after that, the game's pretty much still in decline. So as I said,
Okay. Well, they have now like 2 new games, so maybe they're just focusing on that, like
Yes,
Vanguard, and
probably.
then there's the Warhammer something.
yeah, we'll
game.
get to that immediately. Just want to say that the Soulguard thing was pretty interesting, especially as it tried to kind of mitigate that premium Heroes game into the mobile thing. I guess there's something behind it when even Supercell is doing some kind of similar core gameplay currently, but yeah, this didn't really kind of took off. So then we have the Vanguard game, which is maybe taking a little bit of something from Heroes Formula again, because you have this kind of turn-based combat RPG where you are using your units in a turn-based gameplay on the grid, whereas some grid tiles have advantages or disadvantages based on your terrain and stuff like that. So this was soft launch in July 2019 and global launch in January 2021. And again, the same scenario as Soulguard currently. It was able to pump the revenue to somewhere like 300K a month, but then again ended in the same vicinity of 50K a month currently. So yeah, unfortunately, trying to be successful in the RPG genre is really, really hard. So know that from my own
development
experience.
is fucking hard.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
And the last thing in Snowprint portfolio is Warhammer 4K Tacticus, which soft launched in October last year. And the last update was last April. So I guess this is still going to be a global launch at some point. It is using the Warhammer IP, and by looking at the game, it seems it's using the Vanguard core, where the combat is pretty similar, and the whole formula seems pretty similar. So I'm guessing they're either like improved on Vanguard or just like use some of parts of that game there.
Is the Warhammer fan base big enough to actually sustain like a really big mobile gaming success? Because they have so many games out. Like it's not
I'm
really
not sure, like why
hard to get their
everybody's
IP,
so
right?
Yeah,
know
I'm not
how
sure
big
why
they're,
everybody's so excited about Warhammer IP.
Miniatures
we
are
have
so
the-
big, like the physical products. They're so big, but not the mobile ones.
Yeah, because of course.
You would rather spend on real figurines that you need to paint. That's what Warhammer is about.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like the IP is pretty big. Like if you know the story, this is the original StarCraft IP, by the way. That StarCraft wasn't allowed to use Warhammer IP, so they created their own, and that's how StarCraft was born. I think that's the story. So
Nice.
they were supposed to use Warhammer 1. But last thing in the mid-core attempt, let's say, is the Knighthood game. And this is the most interesting one of them all. Because it was soft launch in July 2018 as an original IP, and then global launch in February 2020. It has really, really interesting loop where it's the action-driven turn-based combat, which the thing sounds
Dude, I can't
ridiculous.
even say that. I can't even say that properly.
But those are pretty much opposites. But to imagine it, you pretty much use an ability, and then during the usage of that ability, there's a quick time event that you can use different abilities. So there's the action, but it's turn-based. So, the normal loop there. It's really, really unique, very stylish graphics. After they launch it, again, there you can see the easy UA pump, a really, really big one where the game was able to reach something like 1.7 million a month. But then again, it declined sharply with the unfortunate shark fin. But the interesting
unfortunate shark fin.
that's what happens.
Dude, that's going to go to the quote of the week in my newsletter. Unfortunate shark fin.
But then the interesting part is that this game was taken by Phoenix Games in June 2021. There's a studio, I think, currently by Klaus Kerstig, which
The new
they're
Flare
pretty
Games.
much. Yeah, it's the new Flare Games. And if you look at the numbers, actually by the time, there you see an increase in UA activity and actual scale in revenue going up. So they took the game somewhere in something like 300K a month, and now the game is doing 500K a month plus. So
that's nice.
So that's the note that I was mentioning with like fresh new eyes on UA, as Mate said.
Yeah.
That actually another company took the game and was able to scale it a little bit at least. But 500K a month isn't a bad game, of course. It's like a really good result.
It took you only 50 minutes to go to this conclusion. Thank you very much. my god. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, but yeah, King pretty much sold the rights. So again, another one of their kind of mid-core attempts bite the dust. So we'll see what happens with Warhammer games. But yeah, I'm guessing they really, really want to diversify, and they really, really need to. But probably they should go through M&A road. But now that
that's what I wanted to ask.
They themselves are being M&A'd by Microsoft. I don't think so. They will get to that.
You need to M&A your M&A, bro.
Yeah.
We put an M&A in your M&A.
Do you even M&A, bro? That's the thing.
Yeah. So
Okay,
any
so-
questions on the portfolio or the games?
Man, it's just like when you have such a juggernaut that is King, like normally you'd be like, oh yeah, they failed their mid-core attempts, but like, dude, it's fine. Their games are making so much
completely
money
fine.
that it's just like, it's raining money. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But still, wouldn't you be worried that you didn't launch a new game in the last 4 years or 5 years, even in the Candy Crush universe? I mean, that's kind of worrisome.
Yeah,
isn't
like
it?
if you compare it to their biggest competitor, which I would say is Playrix on the subgenre, Playrix kind of escaped this problem because they had a clone of Empires and Puzzles that they did, or they had a studio did for them on their account, but they invested or acquired Nexters, which is an RPG.
Yeah.
Which is the big diversification they have on top of King.
Yeah. Because this like puzzle RPG, they didn't continue, right? They killed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Could
Hero
be.
Wars is killing it. Like, I don't know how many millions of money.
Of course it. Yeah, I know. I see their ridiculous ads almost all the time, the fucking time. Okay, so what would be your suggestion to King except the M&A? I mean, like, hey guys, like, wake up.
There's the usual kind of innovation depth that's being increased every year, as I like to say. So
yeah, innovation depth is my favorite.
Yeah, so maybe there's something cooking that we don't see that's not being soft launched, or that could be in the works.
Maybe under the different account.
Yeah, or maybe even hidden soft launch under different account. Even Supercell did it last time, so why not? So I'm guessing they have something up their sleeve. I would definitely try to get something out of the puzzle genre because you already tried to get over the tile blaster genre that didn't go well.
Yeah,
you are the king of the classic match 3 genre already. Maybe starting to be king in a different genre is easier than trying to get in your those last bits of your own genre. So I guess just innovate, I would say. Because they have the money to do it, they can create 3 or 4 Snowprints studios that can innovate midcore for them.
Yeah, of course.
Or buy one that's already done.
I would say buy, because even if they create another studio like Snowprint, if they create it from their own employees, it's just not gonna work because they don't have the expertise. It's just like they don't have the expertise, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's that. How it works.
Yeah, but that's the same as, let's say, another example would be Voodoo, for instance. So Voodoo also wanted to have like a casual studio in Berlin, and still there's not the game.
The casual studio, and they killed the game recently.
Yeah. So it's like this kind of a diversifying thing is really hard for like one genre wide studios.
Of course, it's hard. I mean, the whole game development is hard. Yeah, but that's why we all love it. That's why we all love it.
Yeah, but easiest way out of this would be, again, acquire someone that is there, but I don't know if there's someone in their needed size on the block currently. Because you would need something in I don't know, 5-10 million a month. That I don't think so.
Yeah,
there is someone
at least, at least
to be relevant in the portfolio.
Yeah, to be relevant. Yeah. You don't buy a company, then then you see okay, so we need to teach them how to do things and not the opposite. That's what we wanted to do. Okay.
So this has been our longest episode ever.
I think so.
Should we?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, Jakub. Yeah, thanks, Jakub. No, I think with that in mind, we discussed what they should do on the UA side, on the Admonetisation side, and then also in terms of the game design. And just to mention again, you are doing such a great job, and you definitely made our job really hard to find these chinks or in the armor. So thank you very much for doing that. And also thank you very much, guys, for listening in and for subscribing. So hit the subscribe button now. And until next time, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See ya.